Hey everyone, welcome back. Tying another midge today. This is the Krystal Midge, super simple fly, sort of an evolution of the zebra midge and some other similar midge patterns out there. It's a cool fly because it's adaptive. You can fish it subsurface, but also works well as a dry fly. So go ahead and spin one up. All right, so we got our finished one in the vise here. This is the black and purple variation that we're gonna do today. We get a fresh hook into the vise. Using the Fulling Mill 1130. It's a great little scud style grub hook with a nice down eye and a 2x wide gape. It's got a continuous bend on there and it's a light wire, so it's a good option for this sort of dual purposed fly. We can easily grease it up and fish it as a dry, as I mentioned, but is very well suited as an emerger also. And we're just gonna start our thread right on top of the hook here, using some Danville's 6/0 today. And we'll just do a few wraps there and then go right on into tying in our wire. For the wire, I'm doing some purple, so this is a little more subdued than you might see typically. I like purple just because it's a color that stays visible with the least amount of light in maybe like a deep dark hole that you're fishing. You can also switch it out for silver if you wanted something that was a little bit more contrasting. And I'm tying on a size 18 today. We're using the Semperfli 0.1 millimeter wire. This pattern is going to be best suited really in the size 20, 22s. Certain situations you can get away with an 18, but probably not going to be tying it any bigger than that. Maybe if you're a lake fisher, that could work out a little larger, but for the most part, that's kind of the size run. And we'll walk our thread on back. I was very careful as I went forward, trying to keep nice smooth body to the fly. We're not gonna add any other material, so we want that profile to be nice and slick. Now that we got our thread half hitched and held up front, we can go ahead and bring the wire forward. And we're just gonna wrap it, open wraps, but I keep them fairly close together on this pattern. I like to get a lot of segmentation in there on this bug. I would say typically 5 to 7 or so. As you go smaller, you're not gonna be able to fit quite as many wraps in. And then I do go all the way past the abdomen, up into that thorax. That way I'll be able to lay down all of the finishing materials up on top of that wire and I'll know it's not gonna come loose. We'll do a capturing wrap and then I like to fold it back as well just to also secure it in place. And then we can spin it out and go right on in to our dubbing. I'm using some Kapok dubbing today. This is the Semperfli, it's in black. And I'm gonna take a little bit of my Wapsi premium wax. I like to get a little bit on my fingers. Just helps me sort of grab the material out of the pack. And then translate it right on over to the thread. And initially here, we're not gonna use a whole lot. Just a little bit. This will be a little bit of a bump towards the rear where the abdomen and the thorax transitions, and that'll help me position the Krystal Flash, which is our next material and the namesake of this fly, the Krystal Flash. I like to use some tan on this color variation. It's a UV tan, so it has that purple accent in there. And we're gonna take 2 strands initially here, and we'll trim them in half and fold them over, and that'll give us 4 to tie in. You can play around with that as well. If you wanted to tie it a little bit flashier and add more flash in, you could always trim that down when you're fishing if you needed to. So we'll trim that out, make sure it's nice and square so that when I capture them, I get all of them. And I'm gonna tie it in with it sticking out of the front there just to make it easy to grab it. But then we'll go ahead and pull it on back. And then we can hide it underneath our thorax. like so. And then we're gonna go ahead and trim that short now. I like to use the hook as a prop for my scissors, and I can pull that material down and clip it, and that helps keep it nice and consistent from fly to fly. From there, all we gotta do is give it a little more Kapok and then whip finish it. This Kapok dubbing is really great. It's a hydrophobic material. So if you're fishing this in a tandem rig and you need to sink it, it won't be a problem. It's not gonna float it when you have weight and whatnot on your rig. But in the situation that you do wanna dress it slightly and fish it as a dry fly, the Kapok helps to hold that up and out of the water. So just a few turns there, a little bit of a bulbous front end, and then we can come in and whip finish it just like so. So yeah, highly recommend this fly. It's a good one to have in your box year round. Definitely an important hatch to be focused on throughout the winter. Those midges can get really good dry fly fishing in the wintertime with some midge activity. So let us know what you think. Drop us a comment below. Tell us what your experience is with this fly, if you've had good success with it, what color you might like to tie it in. And yeah, we just appreciate you watching. Thanks so much and have fun.